good, everybody? This is Chris. Today we're going to start off with a tip. Up until now, brands have had to go to retail shops, get shelf space on the retail shops, and then hope that consumers go into those shops and purchase those products off those shelves. A lot of the time you're relying on bud tenders that are out of your sales network, that are out of your control, out of your supervision. You also have no control over the sales data, if any, if you're even able to get it. And then at that point, you don't even know how accurate it is. So there's a lot of inefficiencies about selling through retail shops. And these are storefront retail shops. Now there's another license here in California called non-storefront retail. That's the state's version of saying delivery service. Delivery service will bring you the flower straight to you, but the delivery service has to be the retailer itself. It can't go pick it up from a retailer and then bring it to you. We have to establish a way for brands to basically either have their own delivery service or partner with a delivery service exclusively, and then allow them to have their own retail front. What you want to do is drive consumers there through your brand marketing efforts. I'll go into this more on the content course. I have this mapped out in detail and how you can really put this to use fairly easily and quickly. The thing about it is you're leveraging other people's licenses too in most cases, which is always a benefit because that's less compliance, less tax overhead, less operational responsibility, less employees to deal with. So there's a lot of pluses to not having the license and just operating under a license. And so this is totally a possible model for a brand to do. I'd recommend jumping into it. There's multiple ways to approach it. I'm gonna do some more videos on it. You can purchase through my content course on the app through Hi Chris. Otherwise, you can hire us for consulting and we can custom tailor a plan for your needs that will really be targeted towards what it is you're trying to achieve, what your market is, your demographic, where you're located, and more importantly, what product or products are you selling. This is all the way affected from everything from your packaging to your supply chain and getting also the product to the customer in a reasonable amount of time from the time that it's harvested. Today in the news, I wanted to just talk about an emerging talking point that's been coming up a lot lately. Certain sports organizations are lifting the bans, or they're not drug testing anymore. You've all read the headlines and know the details on that. I don't need to go into that. But anyway, what I do want to talk about is on whether or not cannabis actually helps athletic performance, contrary to popular belief in the past where everyone thought that it hindered performance. What the limited studies now are showing is that over 60 to up to 80% of people who work out use cannabis around the time that they're working out. They use it for multiple reasons, everything from help with recovery, help with pain, either before or after the workout. 70% reported back that they enjoy their workout more by smoking weed before. Just by enjoying it, they get better workouts. So whether it be from that, just the mental part, or actually physically helping you help recover and heal those muscles better, it could be a combination of everything. The thing that's hindering that is the federal laws. These universities, they can't do the big clinical studies and the trials that they do. What we're forced to utilize for information, for statistics, are at best they're poor quality inputs going into these studies. Really what's coming out now is an approach where some of these researchers are actually putting together mobile labs, going out to private residences and conducting their studies one by one in a private setting because they can't bring them into the universities and other facilities to do the research, so they have to go to these people's homes. It's not conducive to clinical trials, so it's probably going to be up for debate by a lot of people. They're going to say that results are inconclusive because there wasn't a standardized testing atmosphere and they're going to all these different places and there's no control over the cannabis that's being used beforehand and how often, how far in advance, etc. So there's a lot of variables up for debate. So until we can do proper clinical medical trials on cannabis, that's when the real researchers and doctors and lawmakers are really going to accept it truly. But as cannabis supporters and users, we all know that these results are real, that they're effective, that they actually are not false claims, and it's almost the opposite from the standpoint of it does a lot of the things it says it does, and if it doesn't, most of the time it's just meaning you got to either shift the strain and try a different strain or shift the delivery method. maybe smoking isn't for you. Maybe you switch to vapes or to edibles or to tinctures or to creams. Just rub it on, and that does wonders for arthritis, for people's pain. There's also Rick Simpson oil, which you don't see on the market that much because it's not as profitable of a product. It's a shame that it's not out there so much because it's a cure-all. It's a super concentrated. You can use it whether you put some under your tongue, whether you put some in your tea, whether you put some on your skin. It really, really helps, especially people in their older age really tend to gravitate towards Rick Simpson oils. Don't discount the benefits that cannabis can provide you just because you've smoked a joint once or twice and don't like the way it feels. That could have also just been some bad weed. Maybe give it another chance. Leave some comments. We can try to give you some advice on how to pick out some good quality weed or some brands or some strains to try or methods. We'll respond to everything we can. Also download the High Chris app. There's a lot of great free content on there for aspiring entrepreneurs, for operating businesses, for people just wanting to get into the cannabis industry and just learn more stuff. We got basic stuff on there too. Learn what you can, elevate your life, get into the next level, whether that's small, medium, large, no matter how big you are, there's always somewhere to go. I'm back with the market analysis for today's episode. What I want to talk to you about is somewhat alarming for the supply chain, and it's really good news for the consumer. So what we have happening is an influx of supply. We have more flower than the state needs, and we're only 1 out of 3 harvests into the big outdoor wave of flower. So what happens in July, August time, we get a big light dep harvest of all the fresh light deps. Then we get a second light dep harvest in, say, September, October. And then we have all the full terms that hit the market by November that are getting harvested in October. So we have these big waves from pretty much starting in July. We feel the effects of this all the way up into February or March in most years. This year is the first year where this July/August harvest has put enough licensed flower into the market to supply all the licensed distribution companies in the state with all their flower needs for the rest of the year. So this is alarming because I say that we still have the second light dep harvest, which is going to be just as big, if not bigger. And then we also have the outdoor harvest, which is exponentially bigger because that's been growing all year long. They're going to get huge plants with huge yields. The quality isn't as good on that stuff, but the prices is always lower. So the alarming part about that is those low prices, we're already at the lower end of this price spectrum. We're gonna be compressed into even smaller prices, and there's really nowhere left to go. So we're gonna see rock bottom prices on all categories, probably prices we've never seen before, or that we haven't seen in a while. We have seen a bad constriction on the supply chain before. This happened a few years ago, and the same type thing happened, except it definitely wasn't as big as it is now. So on a Chris Talks coming up, I go over the market size of the legal market and how much the legal market versus the illicit market, the US is consuming cannabis, and where we'll be at in the next 4 years. So make sure to check that out, and that will give you some more insight on the actual market size and demand for cannabis, and that's going to dictate how much supply we actually need. And so where we're at supply-wise now, like I said, we're in the middle of August going into September. We already have enough supply to last all the licensed distros the rest of the year. So you really got to be careful on what you're doing with the flower, how you're purchasing it, if you're purchasing it, how you're doing terms. You're going to see market prices very unstable to where what you buy today, tomorrow someone might have a deal that's $200-300 cheaper than what you got today. So you got to be very careful. Your buying market can quickly fluctuate. So don't count your eggs before they hatch. Don't put them all in one basket either. Spread it out amongst the light deps, the outdoors, the indoors. Really try to hedge your bets. Don't take any unsafe buys. Don't get anything fronted or on terms that you're not sure you can sell. You might end up having to take a loss on that. So really be strategic, really be careful right now, because the amount of flower that's going to be coming out, it's unprecedented. We've never seen this much. So what's going to happen is we're going to be in a supply abundance, which is going to force prices to go down, which will ultimately get new consumers into the market because they'll be able to be offered higher quality products either at the same price or in more abundance. So what we'll see is a new adoption rate from all this product on the market, and hopefully in the next 2 years, 2 to 3 years, we see federal legalization fully throughout the country, or we see interstate legalized states transacting with each other. And that will be great for California, since not only does our culture and our history align with the pioneering of the cannabis industry, but we literally factually have some of the best environment in the country to grow cannabis. And this is unmatched by most areas, mainly because of the droughts. It's well known California has all the wildfires and droughts, and that's why it's good for growing weed, because if you have any sort of rain or humidity during the flowering process, it ruins the quality of the weed, if you can even grow good weed at that. So having the proper dehumidification in place is very important, but with California's dry summers, it's naturally dehumidified to where it needs to be. So there's very few other places in the country that are like that. So we're gonna see a lot of craft cannabis, a lot of really good high quality stuff still come out of California. And if California can export it to other states, that's going to be very, very beneficial for the abundance of supply that's happening. And the reason why I'm concerned about this is because I come from the cultivation and distribution sector, and we're going to see a lot of great suppliers, both from cultivators and distributors, go underwater this year because they're not going to be able to sell their flower properly, and they're going to be dependent on it in order to make key crucial payments to continue going on. So this is going to be an epidemic that we experience probably for the next 2 years, and we're going to have to, the smart ones that are really passionate about it and have their foothold in it, you have to be nimble and understand how to navigate the market and make it worth it to continue going. If you're thinking of getting in right now, I would say, approaching it from the brand side is always smart for the long-term play, but if you get in trigger happy with the brand, you will blow your load quick, so to say, because if you don't have the right funding, a brand is a long-term play. You need to be able to support it and carry it out. It's not gonna bring immediate money in, and you need to spend a lot of money to keep that image up and that branding and that market share. So brands in the long run are very worth it, but in the short run, don't expect to get paid off it, right? Where market prices are right now, it's good if you're a brand because you can get products at rock bottom prices, and the market price to the consumer isn't gonna change that much. So your profit margin is gonna be much bigger. Or if you have that bigger profit margin, you can offer the consumer better deals. Maybe not price per units drastically lower, but you can give them like buy 2 of these, get 1 free, things like that, and your bottom line won't be affected by it. What I want you to do is take a look at what it is you're approaching. If you are a cultivator, if you're a distributor, even if you're a consumer, take account of what it is you're doing now, both price point wise, volume wise, strain wise. Try to remember back what you've been doing in the past, and then really take into account that the next 2 years are going to be the struggle that whoever can persevere is going to make it. And so that's why I say is do your homework. Don't go in trigger happy. Make sure that you plan and prepare and have the resources to see the project through fully, not to just get it started. And that's a big issue in cannabis. So anyway, that about wraps it up for the market analysis. Yeah, if you're a brand, you're gonna win. If you're a consumer, you're gonna win. If you're a grower, you're gonna have to really be efficient and pump up your volume. And at that point, you're gonna really have to be making smaller margins on larger volume. And that kind of interferes with quality. So we're gonna have a separate sector of craft quality, and that's gonna have to be geared towards the connoisseurs and the higher end of the consumer spectrum, whereas all this commercially large-scale produced cannabis, which you'll still get decent quality from, is going to be the commercialized, lower-priced, mass-produced stuff. So we've seen it in all other markets. We know what to expect. There's always a top shelf, and there's always, a mid-grade and the low end. So you guys know what to expect on that. It's just about how soon it happens. The biggest thing on this is federal legalization, or at least interstate commerce, and that's what's going to save California's industry, and that's what's going to actually really, push out the cannabis industry as a whole to the country. And it's really what's needed on so many levels, both economically, health-wise, consciously, financially, job-wise. Just it gives people constructive things to do. A lot of people are bored, they don't have hobbies, they don't have constructive things to actually spend their time on. So a lot of these cannabis projects open up all new possibilities and doors for people. So really embrace that and figure out what it is that what resonates with you, and what you connect with, and how you can lend your expertise and your energy and your piece to the cannabis industry, and make your mark on it. So thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in. Make sure to like and subscribe. It helps for others to see the videos and to help get the word out there. So again, we're all going to benefit the bigger that we can get the market. It's not about having a scarcity mindset and hiding things from each other. That's part of the inspiration behind this channel, is to share all this knowledge and abundantly put it out there and help everyone else be abundant in this industry, so this whole industry can grow. Help spread the word. Follow us on Instagram and like and subscribe. Thanks.